Hi guys, I'm Lisa. Welcome back to the channel. This week, one of you asked me about how to prepare for a deposition. And again, I don't know because depositions are for federal court and I didn't have to go that far. But I did have to provide a sworn affidavit during my investigation, and I also had to testify under oath at my hearing. So today I'm going to leave you a bunch of links in the description, and I'm also going to share some simple practical tips that can help you with any type of sworn statement, be it an affidavit, testimony, or a deposition. Tip 1, refresh your memory. The most important thing for any sworn statement is for it to be consistent with your prior ones. Inconsistencies hit our credibility, so it's a good idea to study any sworn statements that you've made before to refresh your memory. I didn't think I needed to study because I'd already told my story a bunch of times. I thought I knew it. But when my testimony started, I realized that I had forgotten a lot of the details. And I also didn't realize that I was going to be working totally from memory. I thought that I was going to be allowed to have a copy of my report of investigation in front of me, but at your hearing and your deposition, that's not allowed. Tip 2, always take a pause. Always take a few seconds before you answer. If you have an attorney, it gives them a chance to object. And if you don't have an attorney, it gives you a chance to think about what you want to say. Tip 3, when you don't remember, you don't remember. I don't recall is the right answer when you really don't. Your employer's attorney may try to trick you, to confuse you, and make you look less credible. You may tell them, I don't remember the date, and they may press you on that. Well, was it a Tuesday? Was it a Wednesday? Was it in the morning, the afternoon? You don't have to play those games. I don't recall is the right answer to any question that you don't 100% remember the answer to. Tip 4, don't fall into word traps. Your employer's attorney is going to try to get you to say things that help their case. Duh. They'll ask all kinds of unfair questions to try to throw you off balance so you slip up and say something they can use against you. They may mischaracterize what happened, ask complex questions where only part of what they're saying is true, and they may ask hypothetical questions to trick you. Most of those questions are going to start with, would you agree? If the whole statement isn't true, the answer is no. Tip 5 is don't give them anything extra. Isn't it true that when you used your flexible schedule without your boss's approval, you were AWOL? That's partially true. NASA's written policy did say that I needed my boss's approval to use my flexible schedule. But I had that. I had her standing approval, and so did everyone else in our office. NASA's own witnesses said so in their affidavits. Now I know that blanket approvals are not a normal thing, but in our office they made sense. We were all senior people who were supposed to be working with minimal supervision. Now, I could have tried to explain the whole standing approval thing in my testimony. I have no idea if blanket approvals are even allowed. NASA's policy didn't address it. So I just left that can unopened. So isn't it true that when you used your flexible schedule as reasonable accommodation without your boss's approval, you were AWOL? No. You don't have to explain anything. If they want an explanation, make them work for it. If you don't know, you don't know. And if you don't recall, you don't recall. Just leave it there and let them prove whatever their point is without your help. Tip 6, prepare your ego for attack. At my hearing, NASA's attorney tried to bait me right out of the gate. One of my old social media profiles said that I had a PhD ABD, all but dissertation. ABD has a very specific meaning to anyone who's been there. And to anyone who hasn't, yeah, it probably means nothing. But don't assume it means nothing just because you don't know what it means. If I had said that stuff at my hearing, all it would have done is make me look bratty and entitled. So wouldn't you agree that putting an ABD after PhD is just another way of saying that you don't have a PhD? No. Tip 7, be reasonable and relatable. Most of the attorneys I watched this week say that being reasonable and relatable is instant credibility with a jury. If people can relate to you, then it's going to be a lot easier for them to put themselves in your shoes and see your point of view. Be pleasant and polite, be real, be concise, and avoid defensive reactions, showboating, and overstating facts. All those things can make you less credible. In his testimony, my husband told a lot of awful stories about how when NASA did this thing to me, he saw that change in me. No drama, no embellishing, just plain truth. So when he said that what NASA did to me was terrible, everybody in that room believed him. NASA's attorney didn't even try to cross-examine him. Tip 8, impress when you get the chance. At some point, you'll be asked what your job was, so have your elevator speech ready. Your boss and your employer's other witnesses will probably brag a little bit to make themselves look more impressive and therefore more credible. So you can brag a little bit too. If nothing else, you want to at least come across as competent enough to hold your own with those guys. As a senior technical manager, I recruited and led teams of engineers and scientists from all across the agency to solve sticky engineering problems that threaten the performance, cost, and schedule of our new rocket system. That's my elevator speech. Tip 9. Know the elements of your case. Know what you have to prove, and as much as possible, only point to evidence and give testimony that supports your position. Your employer isn't going to be concerned with being fair and balanced in court, so neither should you. You want to present the strongest case you possibly can. And knowing the elements of your case is also going to help keep you from losing your case over an innocent misstatement or misstep. For example, with a disparate treatment claim, a couple of the things that you have to prove are that you suffered an adverse employment action and that action was prompted by your membership in a protected class. If you mess up and say something like, "It all worked out great for me. I left a really bad situation and found a much better job in the long run." No harm, no adverse action, no case. If you say something like, "My boss is just a jerk. Ask anybody who works for her. So she does this to everybody, and it has nothing to do with your membership in a protected class." And tip 10 is after you nail it, pat yourself on the back. You did it. That's all I got for you guys this week. I'll see you again next week. Till then, take care and hang in. Fight smart and hang in to win.